Hey y'all, so welcome back to another episode of Cancer Called. Today I have with me Marina. Welcome to the show, Marina.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you. So, in true fashion, I love to bring another guest from the star show that I was on. Marina was one of the guests on the star show, and I think, Marina, you were like two, maybe three after I appeared on the show. So we definitely want people to go to Stars, Arizona and watch Marina be on the show because she has a great story, which we're going to tap into right now. So, Marina, give us a little background on what type of cancer you had and how you answered the call.
Ooh, God, I love it all. I'm so excited to be here. Okay, the type of cancer I had was stage 2, triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma. So,
Okay.
At the age of 31.
31? You were younger than me.
I was.
And I had stage 1, you had stage 2.
Admittedly, it's like one of the only times you'll feel so young is when you're like at a cancer center. I feel so young.
I totally freaked out.
So yeah, that's the type of cancer I had, and I did have recurrence at 5 years, and so it was stage 2 again, and also triple negative.
So it came back.
It came back, and I am also BRCA1, so that's the genetic mutation on the breast cancer gene. Puts me at high risk, so I did have a double mastectomy after my first diagnosis. I did chemo and then that. But I was not on immunotherapy, doing all the appointments, the follow-ups, and I would feel a lump the 5th year, during the 5th year, I'd find a new lump near the side of my breast reconstruction.
So the first time you didn't feel it, how did they discover it the first time? Because the second time you're saying you felt it yourself.
Yeah, the first time it was I just believe in signs. Okay. It was I couldn't ignore it, but there was a protocol given to my mom. My mom's a breast cancer survivor, and she's had it 3 times.
Okay, Mom.
Yeah, also BRCA, so hence our high risk. But she had breast cancer the first time at 41, so they told her to tell her daughters to go by 31, 10 years younger, for their first mammogram and genetic testing.
Wow.
So I knew that number in my mind. I need deadlines. We were talking about this.
At 31, yeah.
I need numbers. I need people to tell me go by this time, Now, a couple months before I turned 31, I started to feel this ache, this little twinge of pain in my breast every day. And it wasn't lingering, it just was every day I would notice something there. And it was that was my sign, that it was a time to go to my doctor, get my referral, and get this process going. So by the time I had the mammogram, a couple months later, that didn't look good, and went back for the biopsy. At that time, I could start to feel a lump.
Wow. So your body, and I say this on the show a lot, your body was giving you signs.
100%.
And I think as humans, we tend, especially men, I said it, especially men, as humans, we tend to ignore the signs, and our body is saying something is wrong. So you were feeling that twinge of pain, and it's time to go see about this.
Yes.
And so when you went to see about this at 31, and the doctor said at about 31, you probably should go check into this. You went to check into this, and bam, it's stage 2 invasive ductal.
Yeah.
Did it go into your lymph nodes at that point?
No. I was, I guess, lucky in that sense, but no, it did not go to my lymph nodes. It was, so I had the mammogram done, which showed a tumor. I guess it was the right breast that had the pain and the tumor was fast growing. So everybody talks about stages, but fast growing tumor is a grade. So that was grade 3, fast growing, in dense breast tissue. And so having very dense breast tissue, that's why I felt pain. Because they often will say you can't feel cancer. You can't feel.
I didn't feel a thing.
Right. For most people you won't. But so that was my case. And so having that, then it leads to all the testing that might happen, right? I had a breast MRI, And having the MRI showed that I also had a tumor that we couldn't see on the mammogram on the other side. And that was so far back, right, that you just can't even get that in a mammogram. So I had 2 tumors. One was about 2 centimeters in it, and that's what kept me in the stage 2 category. I hadn't spread to lymph nodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just say wow. I do not say that a lot because I look at you now. Hell, I look at myself. I look at us.
Yeah.
I look at us, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't known you that long, and I already consider you a girlfriend. And I look back and I just think, wow, we are quite amazing.
Yes.
We are quite amazing.
Yes.
And I've heard your story. I hear the things that you've shared with me, and I'm just blown away. Which leads me into the things that you do now. You know, I want you to talk about your YouTube channel. You know, how you are a runner. You are a pretty healthy person from what I can see. You were a healthy person before, which always strikes me as something that is also amazing. I lost a girlfriend to cancer, unfortunately. She was one of the healthiest people I've ever met in my life. Kim, and most of you have heard me talk about Kim over the years. And you know how you're a runner. I looked at her and I'm like, well, she could run, walk, and she did everything. She ate right. You would never think of her as having cancer. I look at you and would never think that you would have had cancer. So can you tap into, you know, how you're a runner, what you do with running, and how you share your running and your life on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, one, I didn't even call myself a runner for a long time, right? I was like, oh, whatever. Eventually, you start running enough, you're a runner. Honestly, if you run a mile, you're a runner. So let's just like.
I don't even walk a mile. But all right.
It's not for everybody. I just eased into it, started doing more runs around the valley here, and just eventually led to half marathons. And then I just decided maybe I'll try to run one full marathon.
Marathons.
It became a bucket list thing. I'm like, I'll run one. And it's part of my breast cancer story because I ran one pretty well under 4 hours, and then I thought maybe I could qualify for Boston, which was a whole new goal. So then that is shared on the Star Show,
right.
How I got to that. So basically it took me 3 times, 3 years of trying and then qualifying to run Boston. And that happened to be the week before I had my biopsy that I was told I had cancer. So here I was, again at 31, I was on the biggest, you know, high of my life, like qualifying for Boston, this huge goal. And the next week, you know, just a total 180 turn of events. Like, you have breast cancer, you have a breast cancer that you need to start chemo.
Amazing. And
you need to do a lot of it. You need to remove your breast because your BRCA. It was just like, I couldn't believe it, but at the same time, I was just so grateful that I found it because, like you said, you have a friend, and at the time, we have a friend that lost a sister to triple negative at 31.
That's
so
scary.
that story
That's really scary.
Was near me, and so since that story was near me, and my mom, who had breast cancer twice at that point, it showed me the importance of starting the chemo and doing the surgery if that's what was needed.
It's time to fight it. Yep. It's time to fight it.
So it just became my new goal, and then my goal through that goal was to get to Boston.
Yep.
And I wasn't gonna let anything stop me.
Damn right.
And I told all my doctors and nurses, and they would just look at me like, girl, you're on 5 of 16 chemo right now. Let's just get through this. But I would show up and tell everybody, I'm going to Boston, I qualified, it's next year. It was wild. It was wild. So having that success, getting to Boston, that was, let's just tell the surprise, right? I got to Boston as a breast cancer survivor.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, I'm like, say it. She did it.
I did 6 months of chemo, the surgery, the reconstruction, and I had 4 months to start training.
Yes.
Which would be the at the least that you need to train for a marathon. So
I get so pumped.
I got started, just dove into training and made it, and my husband was there. I was dating him at the time. He supported me the whole way. So it was the best.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so pumped. I know we're just sitting here. I'm not gonna get emotional. I'm not doing this with you today, Marina. I'm so pumped, not only as a woman, but as your chemo sister, as a woman, as your chemo sister, but what an accomplishment. Like I said, I don't even walk a mile. She's challenged me to walk 3 miles, y'all. I'm gonna do it. If she can run the Boston Marathon, I'm gonna walk 3 miles. Now I didn't say that on record.
Yeah, you have.
That's 5K, right?
Yes.
Damn it, I said it on record. I'm gonna do a 5K next October because she's challenged me to do it. So if she can run the Boston Marathon, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But back to me being so pumped. I'm so pumped and so proud of you for doing that chemo and knowing that you qualified and you have to run that. And people say, well, she didn't have to. No. She had to. You had to run that.
I would call
there was no, there was no going back.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah. And I'm like, and for me, I think, and this is my own thing, and I don't know how anybody else perceives this, again, as a woman or just in your life. Sometimes I do things and I don't give myself enough credit.
I'm going to do it for you.
It took me a long time. It probably took 2 cancer diagnoses, which is what I've had, to like finally acknowledge I've done hard things. But to be honest, we all can do hard things. We've been through hard things. And I think sometimes we need to like give ourselves more credit.
I agree with you. I struggle with that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know when I got the idea. Oh, I do know when I got the idea to start the YouTube, really. So doing that, I shared all of it on social media. Most of it Facebook, right? With your friends and family. Like, I had shared that I had qualified for Boston. Everybody was so excited. And then I shared the news once I told all my family and close friends. I shared the news on Facebook because I was in so many like social things at the time. I was volunteering with group home kids and in a running club.
She did the same thing as me.
Yeah. So I had volunteer group, running club, and just, girls' night to watch The Bachelorette or whatever. And I thought this would be so much easier just to put on Facebook than have to tell everybody all the time, like, I have breast cancer. Because I was starting chemo, I was going to look different,
Right.
So I put it out there, and the amount of support was amazing. It's not for everybody to share their journey publicly.
Agreed.
For me,
it worked for me too.
For me, it worked because I wanted to continue doing some things, and again, the support and outreach was worth it for me. It was very beneficial. So since I did that, a lot of people then, years after, saw my journey, saw that I got to Boston, and would say, my coworker, my sister, my mom have been diagnosed. I get all these messages, and they're like, what advice would you give? What should I do for them? Just all the time people asking. And so that's what led me to YouTube. Because I would give some advice, like this helps with nausea, right? Like get them some ginger tea, get them some comfy socks, get them some coloring books. But ultimately, I wanted to share that more. And because what I also did was say, let them contact me if they have any questions. And most of the time, people wouldn't. And I think it's because we're all just in it. We're going to appointments, we're scared. That person doesn't even know what to ask that's been diagnosed. So.
Everybody's not comfortable, like you said.
Yeah, and it's like reaching out to someone they
got cancer.
I would have felt that way. Like, I have to reach out to somebody I don't even know. I don't know. So it rarely happened that people would reach out to me personally. So YouTube came about. I just started watching videos on how I could start a YouTube. I thought if I could just film a couple videos and give chemo tips and hacks, as I call them, it would be great. Then they could send that link to their loved one, and they wouldn't have to contact me. They'd have
and it still kind of would feel personal.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can see you, but they're not calling you or texting you.
That's exactly. I was like, just here.
Great idea, because it worked. And why did it work, Marina? Tell them why it worked.
Yeah. What, the videos, the channel?
Tell them why it worked. Here it goes, bomb, drop it.
It worked because it was sincere. I meant it. I don't know.
And why else did it work, Marina? How many viewers do you have, Marina?
Well, so I remember the first 2 videos. They're shot on my iPhone. You can't hear it very well. They got like 200 views, and it was probably just my family and friends. And I thought, that's amazing, and it was. Because then what happens over time is they start to share it with people that need it.
Right.
So it's the trickle effect. And I found a hobby out of it. It was really fun to make videos.
Yeah.
And my husband gifted me a camera. a vlogging camera. And
Shout out to hubby.
yeah, he really supported me in that. And then I would be diagnosed again. And so I shared that. I shared that bald and a video that said 12 things I wish I knew before starting chemo, and it just reached the masses. And that was my video and my sign to keep going. So I now have over 20,000 subscribers, so I think I'm like 23,000, and almost 2 million views. I'll probably hit 2 million views by the end of the year.
Amazing. Pause.
Yeah.
2 million views. 2 million views. One more time. That's my girl.
And I didn't
pumped.
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That's
amazing.
It's wild.
No, it's amazing.
It's I can't even wrap my brain around
wild,
the
amazing, amazing.
It's all of it. It's like, unfortunately, people need this info, but they need this info regardless.
They
so
really do.
if
Look
you
how many
can,
people you're helping, Marina. Look how many people you're helping. Like, that's all over the world.
Yeah.
So this is why it's so important for people to watch the stars, and that Survivors Tell a Real Story. I don't think we said that at the beginning. The show that we both were on, because you go into more detail and you provide more numbers.
Yeah.
But this is not just in America, folks.
Yeah.
2 million views. This is worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah.
I'm gonna be like you one day.
Yeah, you are like me.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yes.
And Marina's helping me, you guys. So
yes.
we really commend you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the people that will watch this, and hopefully, you'll post this as well on your YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you will.
Yes.
But so that they can see the work that you continue to do. It's all over the world.
Yes.
It's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
all right,
you.
I'll shut up.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Thank you.
So make sure you guys go. Now, what's
Yeah.
your page? So
It's my
make sure we
name.
don't forget
So or Marina Blackford is my page. It's my name. It's my life.
Yeah.
There's tip videos on there, and I have like playlists that break it down. So chemo tips, radiation, and surgery.
Yeah.
Because I did have a lumpectomy again after a mastectomy. I also had a hysterectomy due to the breast cancer mutation. So I did that to eliminate my ovarian cancer risk. So there's all those videos on there, but there's also vlogs, and I think that's good too. People get a lot out of that, like seeing how I live during treatment. So you get to see like day in the life stuff, and then there's lives. So if you go to my channel, that's really where my heart is now with the channel, is I do 2 lives a month, and people can come on and ask their questions and share their support for others and feel supported. And so it makes it more than just watching a video or a channel. It makes it a community.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be partnering up more, right?
Yeah.
Because Marina loves me, y'all. She
Yes.
didn't say it yet.
Yes.
She does. I'll say it for her.
I
It's
absolutely
okay.
love her. I told you.
I'll
I told my
say it for
husband this morning. I love her.
She said it. It's on record. It's on record. And when I walked that 5K, notice how I didn't say run.
Yeah.
When I walked,
Yes.
because I'm not a runner,
That's
I'm a
okay.
walker. That 5K, she's gonna love me even more. But no, Marina,
I love your
they're definitely
breakfast.
gonna go out there. They're gonna tap into your channel. I
Yeah.
know they will, especially my friends and family, because I know they support me and they'll definitely support you and pass that along. But we gotta really get in to how you and I had these staph infections.
Okay.
We gotta talk about this
I'm
because I don't know if you talked about it on your channel as much. I think you and I said we really need to tap into it because we didn't talk about it on the Stars show. And I don't think I realized
enough time.
Yeah, I don't think I realized.
You can't summarize a cancer journey in like 7 minutes.
Was it 7 minutes they gave us?
Between 5 and 10. Between 5 and 10.
Because we probably each needed about an hour.
People's heads would have been spinning. They could barely follow that I had cancer, had my breast removed, and then I had cancer again. They're like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I think I threw in my part of the show, I'm like, so I had infertility going on before the cancer, and then you're trying to still think you can get pregnant before they give you some cancer treatment. We don't have time for this, folks. But when I had that MRSA, which is the MRSA, and no, I don't know all of the breakdown for the acronym, so we're not going to even go there, but it is a form of a staph infection. And for me, I started to notice after they put the implant in, or the expanders, right? So I didn't even have the implant yet. I had the expanders.
Okay.
And I had
Those
to
are
do, right? They hurt like a mother.
They're all pokey.
Ugh. Hard. Table. I had those expanders, and they couldn't expand this one as much, and this is where the cancer was, and the cancer had gone into the lymph nodes. Well, I started to notice like a discoloration in the armpit area, and I was telling Abdullah, my husband, like, something don't look right over here. We should send them pictures. And they were like, yeah, you should get in immediately to the office. And they ran a test on it, and yeah, that's MRSA. And I was like, who? Who is she?
MRSA called.
Yeah. Instead of cancer. Oh, you got jokes. That's cute. Yeah, MRSA called. Yeah, what the heck is she? Yeah.
And on the other line, I've got cancer, and MRSA's on the other line calling.
My call waiting. Yeah, so I was just like, what do you do? And they're like, you need to go see an infectious disease doctor. And then they're telling me, oh, this could kill you. Huh? As if cancer wasn't enough. What was yours?
Can you imagine? Could you imagine?
Can't with you.
She died from an infection.
Yeah, like
after all of that, that would be awful.
What was yours?
So as we know, I've had cancer twice.
Don't say you had staph infections twice.
No.
I was like, I'm gonna get up from the table.
But no timeline. Well, yes and no. Well, I had cancer twice, so in between that 5-year span, I had a lumpectomy done on my breast reconstruction. I had nipple sparing, breast reconstruction.
Okay.
And so on the edge of one of the nipples that we saved, which is usually a nice transition. Plastic surgeons, if they don't think you're at high risk, they might offer that because they feel like...
They tried to save mine too.
Yeah, because they feel like women, might be a better transition to be able to see some of your body still. There's pros and cons to keeping them and taking them. Yeah. So we tried to save them, but I had a lump on the edge of one that would come up, and it was small and it wasn't growing, but it's kind of like everything. Like without biopsy, they really couldn't tell me, or they couldn't really tell what it was.
Yeah.
So we did the ultrasound, and it was like, I can't really tell. So they said, we'd like to do surgery and just like remove it. And so I did that. So that's a lumpectomy, right? Removing a lump. So we did that, again, maybe 2 years after my first cancer, 2.5 years. And it was fine, which is so deceiving, right? I had the 2-week post-op, usually 2 weeks after surgery, go see your doctor.
Yeah.
Fine. Like this big.
Yeah.
This big incision. Looks great. 2 weeks after that, my whole breast was red, hot to the touch. I felt really lethargic, like super tired. And I would go to bed and wake up with it even more swollen, and fluid starting to ooze from that incision. So that was 4 weeks after surgery. And I mean, when it's very clear that it's like boom here, and nowhere else.
Something is up.
Something's not right. So I called and sent a picture also. So usually, like, this is good too. Try to get your doctor's phone number.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but my plastic surgeon was like, "Here's my phone number." If
she got him on the main line.
Yeah,
Okay.
or it was actually his nurse, because I knew his nurse. So I had her phone number, and I said, "Does this seem bad?"
Yeah.
And then they said, "Yeah."
It's as big as your head.
They said, "I'm gonna send that picture to your doctor." So that's what it was. But if somehow, there's usually somebody that might say, like, contact me if you need help.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to get in right away. And I didn't realize the severity of it for a while, but they wanted me in right away knowing it was an infection. Turned out to be a staph infection, which is short for like a long, staphylococcus, whatever.
Yep.
And you typically have to do IV antibiotics. So in the hospital, when they admit you, they'll give you an IV, and they'll do something like vancomycin. It's a very strong antibiotic. They don't usually keep you on that one. They switch you to a more specific one or two, right?
Yeah.
Once they figure out what it could be.
Because it can kill you.
Because it can kill you. So I did that I was in the hospital for 2 days, and then we planned for like surgery, and they did surgery while I was there. So they just like restitched it. Like took out the implant, cleaned it out, put it back,
Yeah.
and restitched. And 6 weeks later, it was the same thing. Red, fluid, fever. Like I remember going to bed with chills. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
you're so tired, you're just like, whatever. And then the next day you realize I was back in the hospital, same thing. So then I left the hospital with what's called a PICC line, right? Where they put it in your arm to infuse.
I have none of that.
Okay, to infuse antibiotic. You might get it if you have MRSA, but you leave with a line. I didn't have a port anymore. So you will leave with a line that is taped off, in your arm to infuse. So I had this like fanny pack.
1985 fanny pack.
Like a black fanny pack that has a pump with like a bag of medication that you change every 24 hours that will infuse antibiotic to like get rid of it. So I did like that for a couple weeks. Are you real? I know. I did for a couple weeks.
This is crazy.
It happened 3 times. Like I did that, and then 6 weeks later it came back again. So we did surgery again. So the solution was to remove the implant.
Yeah.
To remove the nipple. To leave the implant.
Because you had the actual implant, not the expander.
It was the implant at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was 2 years after everything.
Oh, that's right.
was done.
Oh,
really. So yeah, leave out the implant, remove the nipple, which we were trying to save. First we stitched it, then he like patched it with a graft, and then it was like, nope. I told him, I literally said, take the dang nipple. I was like, just take it.
I'll say it.
I don't want it.
Take the damn nipple.
I don't want it. Get rid of it. My plastic surgeon was amazing, but I think they also have this aesthetic thing they're going for as plastic surgeons, and it wasn't my goal. My goal was to not be back in there having more surgery.
With a fanny pack.
With a fanny pack.
And a PICC line.
And a PICC line and a baby. My son was a baby. He was not even a year when it started, so it was a journey.
So you're taking care of a baby. You got a fanny pack with a PICC line.
Working as a dental hygienist.
I was like, throw that in there.
Yeah.
And you went to work with the PICC line.
Yeah.
With the infection that you're trying to get out with the antibiotics.
Yeah.
And this is pumping around the clock.
Yeah,
right?
a home health nurse will come like weekly to like check everything, clean it, make sure you're doing, they'll teach you how to do it if you had to do it. I hope you don't have to do this. So, yeah.
I didn't even have a comment for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was 8 weeks of IV antibiotic, 3 surgeries to fix the staph infection. Ultimately then, 2 more surgeries to get expander again. So I didn't have anything for
to stretch the skin.
For 3 months I didn't have anything in there, so I just had the lopsided one boob,
Yeah.
During that time, sometimes they'll give you like a gel, little thing you can put in your bra.
Mm-hmm.
I found the most comfortable was the knitted knocker. And it's literally sewn by volunteers across the country, and it's just yarn with cotton in it, and it has the little like nipple they'll sew on it, so you can put that side out or the other. It was the most comfortable to just put in a stretchy bra. It was more comfortable than the fancy gel silicone one they give you. So knitted knocker if you're ever one-sided and you need a boob.
There it is.
It was so great. So those
you and I have so much work to do together. You know that, right? I'm getting all these ideas.
There's so many like pieces to these puzzles. Like everybody's, it's all needed.
Because I think together, I'm just using us as an example because there are many people out in the universe that are helping cancer patients. Let me be clear. But just because we're here together, I think together, we're like a wealth of knowledge. And people in general that have been cancer patients are a wealth of knowledge, and sometimes better than the book, better than the pamphlet, better than the binder that they give you, better than the internet, better than Google.
I showed you the pamphlet, right?
Oh,
the Infusion Center pamphlet with the male model on it. I was like, who's that? When I started
because he is not in the chemo bays.
In 2015,
no.
He handed me this pamphlet, said, welcome to the Infusion Center. And it had a Calvin Klein male model smiling while getting an infusion on the pamphlet. And I was like, this person's not here.
No, he's not.
No.
And if he was here, he walked through on his way to look for somewhere to get an allergy shot.
I pray that he isn't there. But anyways, the point is, I think people do connect better with stories.
They do.
From people
like us. And, to close out this episode, you probably already know Marina's coming back for more. She has to come back for more.
Good news.
We
and
just
stories.
talked,
Stories.
we just talked about an episode that we're going to do where we're going to talk about being in the chemo bays and all the things that happen in the chemo bays, but on a comedic level.
Sign me up.
It's going to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Because we have to probably
I told you
5
about the
minutes
chemo
straight.
gap earlier.
Yeah, and how you have to gather everything just to go to the bathroom and try not to trip and kill yourself on the way to the bathroom. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited.
And I'm so glad that you stopped in, or I stopped in, because we're at your house.
Thank you.
For you to be here for this episode. I can't thank you enough. Again, I'm so proud of you.
Can I share my next venture really quick?
Oh, do.
Just the runner side of me.
Absolutely.
So in a couple weeks,
forgot.
I'm fulfilling one more dream, which is crazy to non-runners.
I can't believe I almost forgot this one.
I'm going to run the New York City Marathon on November 3rd, and it's so whether you see it's before or after, but on behalf of the Young Survival Coalition. So it's a breast cancer charity that helps young adults that have been diagnosed with breast cancer. So if you need resources, they have a ton there, and that is nationwide. So it's just a running dream of mine. My husband, who's my biggest cheerleader, reminded me that I had this running goal like a couple years ago. So imagine now I've had cancer, I had cancer again.
Right.
And now I had a 2-year-old and a baby and another baby. And he said, we got to get you to New York. Remember you said you were going to run New York. And there's nothing like your husband reminding you about something you said you're going to do when you're like, what are you talking about?
Especially when he's not a runner.
So he
I just put
reminded
him
me.
on blast.
Yeah. So
I have
applied,
to meet him now.
It was just again, it's all the signs and part of the journey. But I was able to apply this year, and now I get to fulfill this running dream in a couple weeks, and I'm just really excited.
I love it. And you're running on their behalf.
I'm running on their behalf.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You just keep getting better and better every 5 minutes. Do you see this? She's amazing. Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for coming.
I'll be back.
So
Stay
she
tuned.
will be back. Stay tuned for more.
Subscribe. Like.
I don't know what you're going to do by the time we do another episode, but Lord knows she's going to get better and better, and that's what we like to see. So thank you for coming to this episode. Don't forget to follow me on all the social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That's what you're probably watching now. We love you guys. See you next time. Thanks, Marina.
Yay! Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.